Welcome to the Fantasy Football Picks and Bets show on the Mayo Media Network. I am your host, Scott Simpson. As always, we are presented by PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks using the link in the description below. Code MMN. Get your deposit doubled up to $100. Me and LQ always say that's basically free money. And also, while you're there, please subscribe to the Mayo Media Network on YouTube and ring the bell, right? Let us know you're here. Put some comments down there. We love the interaction. Appreciate everybody this off season. Let's get to my co-host, my partner in crime, all fantasy season. We've kind of been doing a shuffle the board here to start the off season. But man, I was with LQ every single week. The Real Deal Fantasy on Twitter. He's still verified. I checked. Don't worry. Proud to call him my friend. How you doing, brother? Good to see you again.
What's going on, buddy, man? Today is a great day, special day, and hey, it's your birthday, man.
Oh,
Happy
man.
Birthday.
Thank you, sir. I am 43 years young today. I don't like saying old because I like to have a young heart, be silly, be funny. I don't take myself too seriously. But I will say this. It is a great day. I took the day, spent it out eating pizza, talking to people I love. I told LQ, if you can do it on your birthday, and we did chop it up on his birthday last year, I can do it on mine. It's a privilege to talk fantasy football. Let's get right into it. We're talking our prize picks. Now, right now, they don't have out individual games, obviously, but we've been talking futures, and we've been picking apart angles that we've been seeing. And as the offseason progresses, moves are made, changes happen. Amari Cooper gets shipped off to the Browns, opening up, we think, a nice little window there for our guy, CD Lamb, to hit his over. But the news for this kind of like last week, the big news, Tyreek Hill traded from the Kansas City Chiefs over to the Miami Dolphins. First of all, what did you make of that trade before we even get into the prize picks? Did that shock you? Did you hear about the rumblings of him not being able to kind of get that extension? And then, I mean, how does that fantasy-wise kind of hit you off the break?
Man, it was shocking. I mean, out of nowhere is like the only words I can really like say because, man, like, when you think about it, it's like Tyreek Hill, the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the perfect dynasty for the next X amount of years. And you're thinking like, nah, this is just rumors, people just throwing things out there. And then an hour later from that first notification, he's in Miami. He's a Dolphin, man. Like, it's nuts. And like for fantasy, I feel like this puts everything in a shuffle. Like you really start questioning Patrick Mahomes, you really start questioning, Waddle now. Like it goes on both sides of the board. And like overall, I think he's going to ball out. He had a career high last season. So he's coming over with that swagger, coming over with that bag. And like, I'm expecting big things from him.
Yeah, he had signed his new contract in a gym in a high school gymnasium on Twitch before most fans even knew what hit him. They weren't even awake yet. And listen, people in Kansas City probably don't even have the internet yet. So it took a few of the postal service had to mail them out their brochure that said he'd been traded. Not good for them. I saw Travis Kelce tweet out just a crying emoji.
Yeah, it hit him hard, man. He's going to be overworked this year. I tell you that.
I'm not going to call out an injury because I never want to do that because it's not kind of how we approach football. But no. He will have an increased workload. That he is 33 this year. Is that?
Yeah, he's looking at 34 pretty soon. So he's going to break some records. Let's put it like that. He's going to have the volume, but sometimes maybe a little bit too much volume get you sloppy work. And I can see him being overworked and overused in this situation. But yeah, I'm just leave it there.
All right. Well, let's jump into the prize pick, by the way. Code MMN. No shocker, the Mayo Media Network. Shout out to Pat, by the way. During the Christmas holiday season, I made a great purchase with a little Christmas cheer from Pat. He pays us well here, I'm not going to lie. This is my Compass box. It's one of the best. It's called Hedonism. And Pat, this is for you. LQ, you got anything there to cheers for the birthday?
Cheers for Pat.
Yeah, cheers for Pat. Cheers for the birthday boy and myself. This is one of my favorite scotches. It's the blend. It's invisible if it's behind my green screen, but I am drinking it. So cheers to everybody out there. I hope you have a great day. And Pat, thank you, brother. I love you as always.
Happy birthday, brother.
Oh, as soon as it touches your lips. So, all right. I think there's something that we need to touch on here with Tyreek Hill. Last year, 1,239 yards, a nice total in a great offense. This year, now he's in Miami. His total over on PrizePicks, 1,100 and a hook. You always got to get the hook. It's just it's a leverage off the 1 point. I get it, but you're looking at 1,100 yards. What do you think about that number? Is that perfectly placed? Because, oh man, it was hard as I went back and forth. It's a nice wedge for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely perfectly placed. Like I can see some people being worried, and I could see some people saying like he might hit the over here, but based on how we have to figure out is Tua good. We have to figure out how Waddle and him will gel together because man, I love Jalen Waddle and I love everything he was able to put on tape last season. But we're talking about Tyreek Hill, and I think last year what really helped us to see him as more of an all-around wide receiver instead of a guy that's like constantly stretching the field. Because as you can see, as the years, his A dot has basically dropped down. So he's becoming an all-around wide receiver, which we want out of him. But can Tua step up to the plate to be this all-around above average quarterback to get him to this 1,100 in the hook? I'm going to take the over here because I believe in Tyreek Hill and that offense will come together well. But I can understand if you're going to be taking the under as well.
Yeah, and I'll say that last year Waddle did not hit that number. He was at the 1050 range, so didn't get over 1,100. Then you had Gesicki. He had around 700 and some change. And Parker gone though. That's a nice little leverage. I like that. I'm going to take the over in this because yes, I know Tua is not going to get the ball downfield as well. But here's the thing we watched in that playoff game against the Bills. You didn't get the ball to Tyreek Hill downfield. You got the ball to him on a crossing route, and homeboy took it to the house, right? So I really do think that he's still going to be able to get the yards. Now, touchdowns, maybe not. I don't know if he's going to be the gadget guy down there. They got a lot of running backs now. There's loading up on different positions. So got Gesicki in the red zone. He is a beast. Is he 6'6"? We'll ask Jason Sarney. But anyway, Jason Sarney, by the way, shout out. He knows everybody from the Dolphins. He knows their birth weight, like where they went to elementary school. Their grades. Honor roll stuff.
That's great.
He's all into the Dolphins, which is great. And everybody's really excited for them. They think they're the new Rams, but they're not. No. I hate to, but they're not. Yeah, it's terrible. Every offseason, there's a come up for a team, a big come up. The Browns also, we'll get into that in a little bit as well, with Deshaun Watson, have a come up. So there is a groundswell. I do think there's a pushback, and I've seen a lot of narrative in fantasy. He's not going to be as productive. And I agree for fantasy purposes, right? Completely overall, he's going to be a little bit diminished. But I think the yardage could still be there, not on excess volume, but just on his ability to yak, right? That guy is a yak. Yeah.
He's able to get it.
Yeah. So please do sign up for PrizePicks. Link in the description. Code MMN Mayo Media Network. And we're going to do a little transition to the aforementioned Deshaun Watson. All of the moral, legal, and all those things aside, which is really hard to say, having daughters and wives and a wife, and but I know you as well.
What?
So, yeah, well, between us.
I'm about to say, okay, Scott.
No. One woman man my whole life. Let's just put it down. Right? Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, from a fantasy football perspective and from just an offensive perspective, I wanted to unpack this with you. So let's talk about, we're looking at a run-heavy offense last year that was in the top 5 teams in running the football. Their offensive line is graded out by PFF as one of the top in the league as well. So how do you see Deshaun Watson being used, and how does this offense change? Does Stefanski still run 12 personnel more than anybody else, or is it going to be a little bit of a give and take? This is a skill set that he has. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a more balanced offense. The run-heavy offense was only there because of Baker, to be honest. I mean, you got to understand Baker had, the Beckham that was in his head. You had a Jarvis Landry. Not saying he's terrible, but he's not as good as he was, when he was in Miami. So I feel as though, you change to that run-heavy offense when you got a guy like Nick Chubb and you got Kareem Hunt that can catch the passes out of the backfield. Now you bring in a guy like Deshaun Watson where he can air it out and do all these great things, extend the play, and et cetera, just a lot better than Baker. So I think you do make it a more balanced offense just to have this offense, to have some swagger, to have some gel to it. And I definitely think for fantasy, it's going to be great to see, how this offense looks, like you got guys like Amari Cooper. And then I got to be honest, I feel like they're going to get another star or another top prospect wide receiver in that wide receiver core. Cause I like Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I don't know if he's that guy to be the wide receiver 2 just yet.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Over the top and as a big play threat, I love him. I think that if you Baker can hit him downfield than Deshaun Watson can. Will Fuller the shit out of him. So
I think the best kept secret. Nobody's talking about him right now, which is great.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
Dynasty, scoop him or mine him, data mine him, whatever the young people are saying.
I got my shares. I'm happy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Bitcoin the hell out of him. But I agree with you. I think they need either a wide receiver signing. I mean, maybe Julio Jones. I don't know, but somebody or a draft pick or somebody in that
top prospect.
Yeah. And so that would give Deshaun Watson just a little bit more juice. I've heard people, losing their minds, but probably all based in the Cleveland area. No offense. Do you see Deshaun Watson as a top 5 quarterback this year in fantasy? He's got the dual threat. He's able to run. Or is that offense and just where he's at kind of limiting him?
Pending suspension as well to play into this factor. I do not think he'll be a top 5. If he plays the entire season, of course he'll be top 5. There's no question about it, because like I said, like we both agree that they're going to bring somebody in. And the guy that we're not talking about is David Njoku as well, who's going to be there and come back. And I feel as though like this offense can be something beautiful with Deshaun Watson doing it. So he's definitely a top 5. And that offense, they might be in the top 5 conversation as well.
Yeah, I noticed Amari Cooper. Yeah, I checked out some mock drafts. You know what I mean? That's a guy getting the mock streets. And I thought he'd be going a little higher, being the number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's kind of scuttled to the back a little bit. Do you see him finishing in the top 20, the top 15? Where is his ceiling, kind of his floor, given, let's say, there is a full season with both. They both play. Are we looking at somebody who can get you, 1,300 yards in this offense, or is it more like, 1,100?
See, this is a weird situation. This is the first time I'm going to take this strategy going into this season. I'm going to be looking for Amari Cooper's like hype videos, body language during camp. Like if there's a camera on him, I want to see him. Like I really think he's like unhappy right now. I really don't see him performing at a top level, just based on how he was wheeled and dealed. And it's not like he went to the best landing spot. I know the quarterback coming in with controversy and he might face suspension. Still got Baker over there that's probably going to take on those, X amount of games that Watson's probably suspended. So I can't really see him happy over there. I can't really see him like welcoming, to be a Cleveland Brown. You know what I mean? This is more psychic than, his actual playing talent, because we've heard stories about Amari Cooper giving up on routes when he's not involved. We've heard stories of Amari Cooper not blocking when it's a run play. Like we heard all these stories. These aren't things that are just made up. So for me, I'm fading him completely, regardless of who the quarterback is or what that offense looks like.
I like the bold call. You mentioned Njoku, and there's a script we go from. We're not just ninjas who can go from nothing to something. I mean, sometimes we can. We do freestyle a little bit, but I will say this: Njoku is on the show sheet. You mentioned him before. Top 12 potential, I think, is kind of his floor, and I think his ceiling could be a little higher. Where could he legitimately land in the tight end kind of shuffle? I mean, last year we didn't see. At least I didn't see. Schultz being the 6th. Most yards. I didn't see any of these things happening. Schultz coming out of nowhere and being the 3rd best tight end, and then Zach Ertz being the 6th best. A lot of things. Just Zach Ertz was free in best ball at the end of every draft. So couldn't Njoku sneak into the top like 7 or 8 even?
I agree. Like his floor is definitely top 12. I could see him his ceiling probably like top 6, top 7 in that range, just based on, like I said, all the suspension rumors and buzzing. 5 to 6 games or 6 to 8 games with Baker. I don't know what this offense looks like. It might still be that run heavy offense. So it's more so we're chalking it up to be whatever it is, whatever the outcome is.
Yeah. Well, I do like Austin Hooper. Gone. Audi 5.
Out of here.
Get out of here. And Harrison Bryant, to me, he could do a little bit in the move, tight end role, but he's undersized. He's not going to be on the field on 12 personnel that much. If Harrison Bryant's blocking for you, no, it's not great. You're not, yeah. So that's how it goes. And as Stefanski knows this, he watches the film. So, all right, I like it. Let's pivot real quick. I do have to say, shout out to your Rams. We're going to just keep shouting them out, because we're going to talk about Allen Robinson in a little bit, because and I talked about it with Stepmom Lauren when we came on couple weeks ago, but I want to hear from your mouth since apparently you like the Rams. That's a rumor I've heard. But we're going to save it for the last segment. But let's get into a little wide receiver dynasty. Who would you rather have? And you had some good ones. We're gonna kind of go tier based to kind of mid tier, a little bit higher tier, and then we're gonna go into second year bust out, break the bank players who've got great potential. So let's start with Michael Pittman. Now Matt Ryan's I don't know, underling, liege, something is his Robin to the Batman of Matt Ryan. And then Darnell Mooney, who is, with the developing Justin Fields as the QB, he's going to start. There's no more question about the red rifle getting in there and throwing interceptions. So how do you size these two going into 2020 and kind of beyond in Dynasty?
Man, this is so close to me just based on their situations. You know what I mean? Like, we're hoping and praying, Darnell Mooney remains that number one target. Eating up 140 targets isn't, anything to be slept on. And he looked good in that role, the workload. Pittman is such a stud, man. I just love Pittman's game. And Matt Ryan comes in, he elevates that game somewhat to a point where we're just praying that Matt Ryan can just be average. Just do what you did in Atlanta. Don't get worse. You know what I mean? Don't pull a Carson Wentz on us. You know what I mean? Just be solid just to keep Pittman afloat. But if I had to choose, man, as crazy as it sounds, I'm going Darnell Mooney, man. Like, I really feel as though Justin Fields is going to take this step forward. Matt Nagy is out of the way. We might see a new and improved offense, and I definitely like Darnell Mooney as the number one target there.
I will say this. I'm going to lean that way for now as well. And it touchdown-wise, Pittman had 6 last year. Mooney had 4. Mooney has more anti-regression, I guess, or progression or whatever.
Yeah.
And
whatever the kids are saying.
Whatever the young people, the analytics community, are saying. But I will say this with Pittman, he's got Jonathan Taylor there. And that just kind of the game script at times, what we've noticed is in some of these games, you don't need him as much. And you can lean on that run game, and that offense did last year. It'll be a little bit different, like you said, with Ryan, but Ryan's not fleet of foot. He can't. I mean, he can move less than Carson Wentz. So
that too.
Yeah. So
that's true.
It's going to be a little different. He does get sacked, Matt Ryan. It's one of his favorite things to do. So I kind of like the Mooney ascension on that respect. Let's jump down to another one, a QB uncertainty for both of these studs. Last year, I'd be, smitten and excited to kind of roll these guys out and kind of maybe boast about it, puff my chest up. I got DK Metcalf, Deontay Mike Johnson. And now I've got freaking Drew Lock, and then I've got Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, this is just like Schitt's Creek, right? It's terrible.
Yeah. And what's crazy is it's like what scares me about Drew Lock being the starting quarterback is Pete Carroll's like doubling down, and then DK Metcalf is publicly defending Drew Lock. So I'm like, are you guys seriously going into week 1? What are you doing? Yeah, like you're going into week 1 with him as the quarterback? What? So that's what scares me a lot about DK. And we got to be honest, when DK's shown us a little diva in him last season with Russell Wilson. So what do you think he's going to do with a terrible Drew Lock? You know what I mean? It's going to be a little turmoil in that locker room. And I don't like dealing with, drama that reflects on the field as well. And you can tell people give up on routes. People do weird things like that. And I just don't want any parts of it. So I'm going clearly to my boy, Deontay Johnson. He is the volume king. Follow the volume. Like if you type his name on Twitter, the GIF, type in Deontay Johnson, you're going to see me say, follow the volume. Like that's all you need to do. And I understand Mitchell Trubisky's over there too. Like, come on, Scott. Like he's responsible for Allen Robinson's back-to-back top 10 performances. So all he needs to do is just be above average. And Deontay's going to eat, man. So clear across the board. Give me Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I can't wait for DK Metcalf to invite Drew Lock to one of his orgies and see how I think that's where
all about to happen.
Russell Wilson really left.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf.
Like, yeah, man, you're weird. I'm out of here.
And stuff like, hey, man, I will run that go route, but hey, what, UNCA, you can come over for the orgy. I'll catch 2 touchdowns this weekend. What do you think?
God.
Yeah, what in the world, DK? Keep it in your pants, bro. Anyway, let's get down to the heart of the issue here. And this is we talk second year players here. Mooney is going into his third year now. So a little bit different. Same with Pittman. And I think Deontay and DK as well. So a little bit more value now in the second year wide receivers. We're going to talk Rashad Bateman versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nobody was hotter than him the last 3 weeks of the season. He was en fuego. I mean, he was winning people championships. Yeah, people were just hailing him as the king.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
I'm familiar every single season.
Yes. So how are you approaching both of these guys going forward? Who would you rather have maybe short term next year and then maybe long term? Is it the same? Is it a different player?
So I think it's the same long term, but more so I feel as though Bateman is way cheaper than the Amon-Ra St. Brown hype train right now. You're going to pay top dollar just based on what he did last season with a injured TJ Hawk, an injured DeAndre Swift. They just signed DJ Chark. So it's just like, it's going to get a tad bit complicated when you go to send that offer, because you're looking at it like, why am I paying top dollar right now just based off of a hype that happened last season when I can get Rashad Bateman, who's literally their best wide receiver, I feel as though, for the Ravens, like moving forward. So Sammy Watkins should be out of the way. I don't think they're going to bring in any other, veteran prospects. Like, I'll be really pissed if I wake up tomorrow and AJ Green's a Raven. It'll be one of those situations like, why? Like, why'd you just do that? But long term, I'm going to stick with Bateman, man, just being way cheaper.
I love this call. The value there is embedded in Bateman. You saw kind of flashes last year. You forget Lamar was out, and so he was flashing at times.
Yeah,
Huntley, and I liked his aggressiveness going to the football. I mean, you saw it in Minnesota as well. He's a gamer. He's a baller. You put the ball in his hands, he gets you the first down. That's what he does, and sometimes he breaks it too. So I really do like the Bateman value. The Amon-Ra St. Brown, you trade him if you can, right? Like flip him.
The thing is, like, what people don't understand is, like, this will be the time to trade him because I'm not going to miss any sleep just based on the return I'm going to get from him. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to be in that situation where I can get a good guy or a value pick in the rookie draft or whatever, I'm not going to miss any sleep if he does end up top 20, top 25 or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he's not a top 5, top 10 player, because everybody thought that about Brandon Ayuk, and then he finished wide receiver 35. And what did he finish the year before that? Wide receiver 35. So here we are.
I like it. He is the real deal on fantasy. He's a real deal fantasy on Twitter, I should say. Go give him a follow if you're not. I don't know what you're doing if you're not. He's verified, right? And then when he likes your stuff, you go, oh, look at me. I get verified likes. I love it. I just tweeted him all the time so I can feel good about myself. Anyway, let's jump to the last segment. I teased it before. I do like the Rams, and I do like them probably because I like you. And so it bleeds over into my work relationship. Don't tell anybody I'm biased. Allen Robinson signed. We talked about him earlier. Mitchell Trubisky propping him up. This ain't Mitchell Trubisky here. This is a Super Bowl winning quarterback in Matthew Stafford. That's so exciting. He's undervalued. We know that. How high are you kind of looking at him for redraft? When are you targeting him? What's a fair value do you think you're willing to go grab him at in your August drafts?
The general consensus, I think, it's like 5th, 6th round. I think the only reason why he's there is because of what people saw last year, which you have to take into account of why he played that way. I mean, it's public information. He did not want to play under the tag. And anybody who knows when a wide receiver is frustrated and playing on the tag, you're probably not going to get their best performances, especially a guy like Allen Robinson, who proved himself 2 seasons before that. You know what I mean? So why would I play my all, risk injury, commit to a team I'm not going to be on next season to mess up my bag for the next team? And that's literally the situation that played out as a Ram. So me in drafts, I'm going to take that value and eat it up, because we could possibly see 2 Ram wide receivers as top 15 players. And we've seen this before with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp finishing at top 5 wide receiver at 5. So this is something that we can see just brewing out with Allen Robinson being that guy who can get in those later rounds, mid-round, whatever you want to call it, to be one of those star-studded wide receiver 2s with wide receiver 1 upside most weeks.
Yeah, he's going to fit into wide receiver 2 theory this year for sure. And for those who do not know, it's the overvaluing of wide receiver 1s that then creates a pocket of value for wide receiver 2s, who maybe they will not every week outperform, but have the potential to veer into the wide receiver 1 category each week, like you said. And I think Robinson is a great candidate for that. Speaking of the kind of position he filled, Odell Beckham Jr. teamless. You hate to see it coming off the injury. He did play great in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl with the touchdown. I mean, I loved it. Great story. Where do you see him landing?
It's crazy. It's the injury timing that it happened. So we might not see him get signed until maybe October, November. Because honestly, he shouldn't be back on the field at 100% until, how long does it really take? I never had that injury to know, but I know it takes about like 8 to 10 months, to get back to, walking, running, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the Rams, if they make a deep playoff run, don't be surprised we sign them. We signed Eric Weddle a week before the Super Bowl. So don't be surprised you see something like that and it ends up being like a weird 2-year contract where this year he's only this amount of cap at, whatever the case may be.
It's interesting. Everybody just is penciling him to Green Bay, and I see lots of Green Bay fans who are not happy about it. And they're just like, stop it. So
why not, though? The thing is, if he did go to Green Bay, I love that fit. At least, with him healthy going into the next, I love that fit if Aaron Rodgers is committed. I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers turn Devontae Adams to this mega star. Like, I do think there is a balance there between who made who, but man, Aaron Rodgers, he really made Devontae Adams that legit wide receiver. He can do the same thing with an Odell Beckham.
He's smart. That's the thing. My favorite play from 2 years ago is when he gets up to the defense, he reads it. He looks at the safety, the linebacker, as he smiles.
That grin that's a serial killer grin right there. I'm going to light this defense up right now.
Do something terrible to this guy right now. Oh, it feels so good. Keep it in your pants, buddy. He's got he got that look in his eye. Like,
that is sick. That's a sick man.
Oh yeah, it was so killer and sick. I loved it. So yeah, he could do that with anybody. Speaking of somebody who I don't think he could do this with, what do you think about Jarvis Landry coming out and saying, I'm worth $20 million? Also, here's an invitation to my 31st birthday party. Come on,
man. That's terrible because I feel like if Jarvis Landry would have said this 3 years ago, give it to him. I think he wasted those years in Cleveland when he should have cashed in elsewhere. I always hated the move to Cleveland. Like I despised it, but he still was a volume guy that had all the types of upside and stuff like that. But man, I really wish he would have said this 3, maybe even 2 years ago, bro. I can see it. Like, all right, hit him off with 18, maybe not 20, but this is just crazy right now. This is nuts.
That Christian Kirk money got him eyeballing.
I mean, that pissed everybody off, to be honest. I would be too.
Yeah. I love when teams reset the market inaccurately. And there's always that one. It's like when a really beautiful girl dates a loser in your school, and you're like, oh gosh, I could have gone out with her. I should have asked.
I should have asked.
Oh gosh, we had that happen in my school. Actually, one of the ugliest guys. Horse Teeth Griffin himself. He got like one of the prettiest girls. It's terrible.
Shout out to you, bro, if you're watching right now.
Oh, his dad owned like a sewage company. I'm sure he's a millionaire right now. The guy's got 7 front teeth and hottest girl in high school. Good for you, bro. All right. I'm not touching Landry if I'm a team that has money to spend.
No,
but he could be a Falcon because they've got nobody on their wide receiving core. So if you want to eat a little humble pie, maybe go down to 12 million. Maybe at 36 million for 3 years or something like that, right? Yeah. And you get some incentives. Yeah, give him that. You could be pulled off there. So, well, I gotta say, this has been great as like a birthday. It's one of my top birthdays. It's not Italy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not it's not spending the day at a winery in Italy like I did one year and coming home to cake, mommy, and all the other good stuff. That was a great time. But this is one of my favorite birthdays. I got to hang out, talk fantasy football, and I got pretzel pizza earlier today. So you can't mess with that.
I did see that actually. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. So I gotta say, I am Scott Simpson. I'm Nimble W Numbers on Twitter. Please give me a follow. My guy, Real Deal Fantasy. Where else can we find you besides Twitter?
Oh man, you guys can find me everywhere. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, still active over there sharing content, and of course here at the Mayo Media.
Oh, I love it. Please do check out everybody here at the Mayo Media Network. We've got, of course, Pat. He's our leader. We've got Pete Overzet, Stepmom Lauren, myself, everybody else, LQ. Please like and subscribe here as well. And then go link. The description is down below for PrizePicks. Go hit that. right? Get in there, get that $100. I've turned mine into now $400. I didn't want to tell anybody else. I'm kind of, I'm building it up.
Yeah, you bought me the shirt. You bought me the shirt too. So thanks.
Oh, you look great, by the way. And hope next year we will not be working probably on our birthdays. So happy birthday to you for this year. And this has been great. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a great week. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.